Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, the four corners of the world. We are welcoming you today to this concluding part of our um, usual podcast as Chisayo Mpilweni, where we speak about the exciting issues of concern in our day-to-day lives. I'm your host, Arthur Sibanda Usegata Shanta. I'm from Amashake, calling in from London with my brother Anthony Usegatatu Unyatum Dluli, uh, who is going to maybe give us a summary of what we've been talking about and as well as give us resources. So just cut to the chase and give the baton to Mr. Nyati.
Thank you very much, Satashanta. Thank you very much for for to everyone for joining us this whole season. It was a brief season, but a very interesting one. Um, what we were looking for and asking for was some resources that we can look at, some things that we can read to try and understand the past a little bit better. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have maybe 3, 4, 5 different references to give. So the first thing I have to say is history is always a construction that we make in our own minds based on certain resources and stories we've told ourselves. So it's difficult to come up with the story that we have told without having a few resources at your tips. Some of these we found them after the podcast is yet finished. Some of them we already had them before. So there is I will share here on the screen one or two places where you can find resources. So the first one here, this is maybe for someone who's interested in the Christian history of maybe from an Adventist perspective, how were Adventists involved with the whole slavery question and colonization and Black inferiority. So if you look up this thing here, which says Adventist history, Protestantism, and abolitionism. So if you look up that, you will find it's a 3-hour presentation, but it's a very thorough discussion on how Adventists carried themselves around the questions of Black people and contentious issues at their founding. Okay, so you definitely need to invest time to know these things. Then the second reference that I have here queued up. So there's what is called the Bizrat Project. The Bizrat is an Ethiopian word for gospel. So the Bizrat Project is documenting the early history of Christianity in Africa. So you understand about Africa so Christianity in Northern Africa, in Egypt, in Nubia, in Ethiopia. And also it will talk about how Christianity ended up in Central Africa, in West Africa, etc. So it's this part is called the Bizrat podcast or the Bizrat project, but it's a larger it's under a larger umbrella of what is called the Jude 3 project, which is basically Black Christians talking about how Christianity has affected, how Christianity and racism have intersected and worked together, what that has been like. And then the third one, which is another interesting one. So this man and Dr. Vince Bantu, so there are people from different denominations, but of course, because we're SDA, things are a little bit more skewed towards our SDA thing, but we are happy to have a look at many different. So Jude 3 project and the Bizrat podcast, they are not done under the Adventist umbrella. I don't even think the people are not even Adventist, yet the information is absolutely brilliant. And I think we should say upfront, it doesn't matter what someone says they are. What matters is the information they are giving you. So this is a really, really good resource. And then third one, so these are all like YouTube resources at the moment, but we're going to the other ones soon. So the third one here this channel. It's called Nefaniti. Sister Nefaniti has passed away. She's now asleep. She passed away last year. But she was I think we talked about people turning to Kermit and such things in the podcast. She was one of those people. But then she found God. She found Jesus and she became a Christian. So she addresses some of the questions that people have on the intersection between Africanness or being Black and Christianity. So you can see, I just saw some of the series that she's got, right? God of our ancestors, Christianity and slavery. What's this? Let's see. Spirituality and the New Age, the conscious community, right? So I'll show you responses to the conscious community. So things that are normally said in the conscious community. That's what I think whoever is in the conscious community would know. So say, for example, why I left Kemet, the truth about Constantine was where was Jesus during slavery, witchcraft in the Bible, Dr. Uma Johnson, should Christians be burning sage, all these things, Yoruba, there's all these different things that people do and talk about under the conscious umbrella, and she discusses those issues. So I think it's also a good resource to look at. And then now we go to actual books, maybe. Well, even though this is a book, you can actually find it on YouTube. So I'll just show it over here. So if you go Conquest and Cultures, right? This book here, it's 10 hours. My word, it is fantastic, right? It's fantastic in that it lays out different nations and how they were conquered and what that conquering meant for them. So it's just a good resource for me anyway. I found it to be very good. So if you just listen to that book as well, you would find that's actually a very good resource. The other one I shared was Missions in Southern Rhodesia. I talked about that and I showed people that book as well. So if having that is a good resource as well. And also just doing your basic history, the history that we did in Zimbabwe, where you understand what happened in Zimbabwe in terms of the arrival of the Ndebeles, the Mfecane Wars, the arrival of the Afrikaners, the arrival of the British, all these things, they are all different resources that we look at. And these resources do not all agree. But having this information is quite helpful in understanding things properly. So just as a quick short testimony, I don't know if I said it during one of the podcasts. Living in Australia, of course, you have from time to time these discussions about racism. I used to be quite uncomfortable either being asked questions or people raising certain issues. Sometimes you don't know whether they are raising issues because they want to know or they're trying to put you down. All those things used to make me feel very anxious. But the more I understood the history of what happened, the less intimidated I was by anything that I would have previously had interpreted as someone trying to be racist toward me. The less intimidated I was, the more comfortable I was to talk about what happened and to actually hear the negative and the positive from any side, because I actually I had a framework that allowed me to understand. And if I am to say the heart of it all, my personal opinion is a true understanding of history. It may sound like a false idea to someone who hasn't tried it. Starts with a clear understanding of how life works. When you observe that life works on love, life works on the truth, life works on freedom. And then you go back into history, you will see that come to life. And you can see it working. Best example is the life of Jesus. But, that's a long story. that's the way I see that we're supposed to do history. Okay, we get as many resources as we can, and we look for life, we look for love, truth, and freedom, and it will work. So thank you very much anyway for joining us for our journey. It was lovely working these things out together. So I leave you to Mdaweni to react. Or if you've got any questions, I can answer questions.
Thank you very much for sharing the resources that people can use. We definitely encourage people to look at them, and not only these ones, and many other resources. But I think what we're emphasizing is that everyone should be fully persuaded in their own minds. Look at the evidence, weigh it, test it, and come to your own conclusions. Because I think in these days, we really need to be investigating and learning for our own selves and not just taking everything that we're told anyway as fact. So we will be progressing to a new season where a very
Oh,
exciting season actually.
sorry to interrupt you. I know we're
Yes,
not supposed to interrupt each other all the time, but I just had to say this doesn't mean we don't want more references from people. If people have information that may be useful, please feel free to leave a comment. Please feel free to leave a reference. That's I think let's not preclude and say this is the beginning and this is the end. Uh, not for other people. We also don't have enough resources that we have read and listened to. So we're more than happy to, and we are begging for more information from those who have it. Thank you.
definitely.
Yeah.
We also learn by hearing um, what you have to say. So, like I said, we're starting a very exciting season where we are going to look at a very, I'm using the word very, very again and again,
Yes,
but,
yes.
but we
You're
have a
using the
lovely,
word very, very much.
yes, very, we have a lovely and interesting book that we want to go through and discuss by Dr. Graham Maxwell, was a professor, I think, of New Testament,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. He
But
wrote a very,
we'll do that.
yep,
We can do that later. We can
yes, yes.
explain a bit more about
So
it.
the book is called Servants of Friends,
Mhm.
Another Look at God. So maybe I'm encouraging you to uh, look for it. The good news is the book is free, so you can contact myself or Anthony to give you the details on how you can get it delivered at your doorstep for free. That sounds exciting. So that's all about the new
And it's not
season.
a cheap edition. It's actually good quality stuff.
Yes, yes, good quality for free being delivered at your doorstep. So I'm excited about what is coming on ahead, and
Mm.
I don't want you to miss it.
Did this
Please, yeah.
I just want to ask, are you how invested are you in this project of doing this next podcast? How does it affect your life? You know, you've got a wife and children and other things like that. Why are you busy talking about books? Shouldn't you be out there? You know, like Talkie Vibes says that, was it Talkie Vibes or whoever it was who said that instead of talking about other people, you should be out there making money.
Well, maybe as people will discover when we go through the discussions, I want to believe the message that Dr. Maxwell espoused was life-changing and transformative. It's not just speculation, surface talk, or theories. I think it's something that is practical, that actually changes one's life.
Mhm.
And just to give away a hint, we are talking about how your perception of God's character affects your day-to-day living. How the type of God you believe in uh, directly impacts on how you live your day-to-day life. Um, well, if you attend or watch the next season, I guarantee it's going to be I'm almost saying I'm putting my life on the line, but I'm saying it's going to be exciting because I've experienced it in my life, and I'm
Mm.
still experiencing it, and I've seen in the lives of others how the message is changing them.
I like to say amen because I can see you are now a better person. I'm joking. I, you know, my life, my life was a different life before I understood that it was a different life. And it's almost like, just having all these amazing possibilities come up before you. So let's hope it will be the same experience for everyone. So we're not promising that it will be like that for everyone. We just hope it will be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we just hope it will be. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time, guys. We enjoy your company. So see you next season. When is our next season starting again?
Oh, I had forgotten to mention, the 1st of March is when you will get probably the first episodes being uploaded. So
Yeah.
please watch out for this space.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.